Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping headfirst down the rabbit hole and into one of the wildest, most bizarre worlds ever created, Alice in Wonderland. You know, it's a story that feels like a total fever dream, but it all kicks off with a really simple and honestly, super relatable question.
And this is where it all begins. We meet a young girl named Alice, and she is just completely bored, sitting by her sister on a riverbank. And really, you gotta feel for her. But she's about to stumble into a world with way more bizarre conversation and absurd pictures than she could ever imagine.
So, Alice's perfectly ordinary, kind of boring day is about to get completely turned upside down. Why? Because she sees something, well, something impossible. A talking white rabbit, all decked out in a waistcoat, frantically checking a pocket watch. And this rabbit seems to be in a massive hurry.
And this is it. This is the moment that kicks everything off. It's not about logic or thinking things through. Nope. It's just pure, unfiltered curiosity that makes her follow him. She doesn't hesitate for a second. She just dives right into that rabbit hole after him.
Okay, so this is no ordinary rabbit hole. Not at all. It's this long, slow, kind of dreamlike fall, where she floats past bookshelves and maps. It just seems to go on forever. When she finally lands, it's super gently, and she finds herself in this long hall. And there, she spots a small glass table with a tiny little golden key on it. That key, that's the very first piece of the puzzle.
So she uses the key and finds this tiny little door. And behind it is the most beautiful garden she's ever seen. But there's a big problem. She can't get through. She's just the wrong size. And this whole size thing becomes this super frustrating recurring theme for her. It's almost like a reminder of how the adult world can feel to a kid, you know? Just full of these random rules you can never quite fit into.
Then, a bottle with a little tag that says, "Drink me," just magically appears. And what do you know? It seems like the perfect solution. She drinks it and shrinks down to the perfect size for the door. Awesome, right? Well, not quite. In a moment of total frustration, she realizes she's now way too small to get the key she left up on the table. It's a total catch-22.
And Wonderland just keeps throwing these weird solutions at her. There's a cake that makes her grow so huge she gets stuck inside a house. Then a magical fan shrinks her down so small she almost vanishes. It's just a total mess until she runs into this very philosophical caterpillar. He's the one who finally gives her the secret, a mushroom that gives her total control over her height. Finally. So now that she's finally got this whole size thing figured out, you'd think things would get easier, right? Wrong. Now Alice has to deal with the completely nonsensical logic of Wonderland's inhabitants. And believe me, this is where things get really strange.
I mean, you've got this cryptic, hookah-smoking caterpillar, then there's the famous grinning Cheshire cat, who just appears and disappears whenever he feels like it. Pretty much everyone she meets speaks in riddles and paradoxes. It's almost like the whole point is to push her further and further away from the kind of logic she's used to.
And this all leads to what is maybe the most famous example of Wonderland's total absurdity, the Mad Tea Party. So Alice walks up to this huge table, it's all set for a party, tons of empty chairs, and the first thing they yell at her is, "No room, no room."
After some arguing, the Mad Hatter says she can stay, but only if she can answer his riddle. And the riddle seems pretty simple, if a little weird. But of course, there's a catch. And this catch, it pretty much sums up the entire logic of Wonderland.
So here's the punchline. There is no answer. The Hatter just flat out admits he has no idea what the answer is. And that right there is the absolute core of Wonderland's logic. Questions don't need answers. And rules, well, they're just there to be played with, not followed.
So, totally frustrated, Alice leaves the tea party and keeps going. And her journey takes her right to the very center of power in Wonderland, the tyrannical, always angry Queen of Hearts. And the Queen, well, she has one solution for basically every problem. It doesn't matter if her gardeners planted the wrong color roses or if someone just plain disagrees with her. The answer is always the same, her infamous, terrifying catchphrase. Next thing she knows, Alice is forced to play this absolutely bizarre game of croquet where, get this, all the equipment is alive. They're using live flamingos for mallets and hedgehogs for balls. Hedgehogs that keep uncurling and just running away. The rules are basically non-existent, and really, there's only one goal: make sure the Queen wins. All this chaos finally peaks in this absolutely ridiculous trial. And guess who the defendant is? Alice,
She's accused of stealing some tarts, and with the Mad Hatter on the jury and the Queen acting as the judge, well, this whole thing is pretty much the perfect summary of Wonderland's completely nonsensical idea of justice.
So, just as the Queen is screaming at the top of her lungs, "Off with her head," the entire chaotic world of Wonderland just starts to fall apart. It all begins to unravel right in front of her. And then, just like that, she's back. She wakes up on the riverbank with her head in her sister's lap. And her sister, she's just calmly reading a book that, ironically, probably has no pictures or conversation in it at all.
So Alice tells her sister all about her crazy adventure, just writing it off as a very strange dream. But then she sees it, a little white rabbit scurrying away. And that leaves us with the story's big final question. Was it really just a dream? Was her adventure truly over? Or is Wonderland always just around the corner, waiting for us?